For this challenge, the first thing I did was to crop the image using the crop tool. Now, since the image is going into a PowerPoint presentation, we know it should be cropped to a 16:9 aspect ratio, so I selected the first drop-down menu in my options bar and made sure that the crop ratio was set to 16:9. Then I adjusted the image until I found a pleasing layout and pressed Enter or Return to accept the crop. Next, I went up to the Image menu and selected Image Size. And with the width and height linked together and the unit set to pixels, I changed the height value to 720, which automatically reset the width to 1280 pixels, which is exactly 720p to match the dimensions that PowerPoint uses. Then simply clicked OK. I then zoomed into the image using Command or Control+ a few times. Next, I addressed the text and background contrast issue. Since we have white text on a light background, I figured it would be better to add a soft black mask under the text to help lift it off of the background. Now to do this, I added a new layer by Option or Alt clicking on the new layer icon, which brought up the new layer dialog box. Then I could name the layer. I called this layer black. Then I made sure my foreground and background colors were reset by pressing the D key on my keyboard. Then I went up to the Edit menu, selected Fill, and since black is my foreground color, I made sure that the Contents drop-down menu is set to foreground and clicked OK. Then I added a vector mask to the black layer by holding down the Command or Control key as I clicked on the Add Layer Mask icon in order to add a new vector mask. Next, I grabbed my pen tool and set my first point above the image, then came down close to the text to set another point, and then drew an outline that basically followed the contours of the sea lion down until I got off the image. Then I added additional control points around the outside of the image, and then went back to my first one, got the closed circle, and clicked on the first point to close the path. Then I opened my Properties panel, and with the mask selected, I dialed in a feather value of about 170. I then grabbed my Direct Selection tool or white arrow tool, clicked on the path to make sure that it was selected, and then adjusted the individual control points until I was happy with them. Now to really dial in this effect, I dropped the layer's opacity down to about 50% to create a very subtle effect that just helps the text pop off the background. Next, I added the custom blue wash LUT that we created in an earlier movie by selecting the image layer and then adding a color lookup adjustment layer to it. With the 3D LUT file selected, I clicked the drop-down menu and selected Load 3D LUT. Then navigated out to my desktop where I still had the bluewash.cube LUT file that we created in an earlier movie, and applied it to the layer. As a final tweak, it seems like the black vector mask layer is not fully blending into the look, so I dragged the color lookup adjustment layer above the black vector mask layer to have the color adjustment apply to the black mask as well. And there you go. That's the final image with a fully customized look, ready to go into our PowerPoint presentation. Great job!